Hi, everyone. I'm Elizabeth Sauter. I'm a speech pathologist specializing in social emotional well-being and executive functioning. And I have two kids myself with ADHD, and I have had so many challenges with transitions and awareness of time and turning in assignments and chores over the years and supporting parents to be able to support them. And I have learned so much from Sarah Ward as a speech therapist and expert in executive functioning. And I'm so excited to interview her today to share some of her goodness and it's changed the way that I've parented and the way that I support families with executive functioning to with all the overwhelm and life skills that we're navigating these days. So Sarah, tell a little bit about yourself, and then I'm going to ask a couple of hot questions that have come from our audience.
You bet. So great to see you. I'm a speech and language pathologist too, and I'm a mom of two terrific now grown kids. And of course, Elizabeth, you and I always love that sort of concept of our strategies are always kid tested and mother approved. I know our own kids are like, stop executive functioning us.
Yep.
Absolutely. But I've been working in the field of executive function skills for over 31 years. And with my co-director, Kristen Jacobson, our 360 Thinking program is in almost 2,000 schools worldwide. And we do lots of trainings for parents, teachers, executive function coaches, other clinicians on how do you really shift students from being sort of what we call adult regulated to self-regulated, where they're independently really initiating those executive function skills and are less prompt dependent.
And it's so, I mean, I'm guilty of that too, just being my kids' prefrontal cortex all the time and just, supporting them because it's just
Aren't
such,
we all?
yes, and it just takes a while for this to develop. But can you tell us a little bit in your words, because it's different than what I've heard in other podcasts or resources of what executive functioning really is?
So I think traditionally, sometimes people really describe executive function in sort of one of two ways. I think one way is they talk a lot about it being like the air traffic controller or the manager of your brain. And the second way it's typically talked about is in its simplistic definition of just the ability to, quote, get stuff done.
Mhm.
And those are really true. I mean, definitely it is a managerial skill to get stuff done. But I think that the more important understanding and definition is executive function is really about being able to have a mental simulation or to be able to do a mental dress rehearsal of how a task is going to go over space and time. Because it's not just a matter of, I need to get dressed. It's that, all right, I have an amount of time and I have to move through all sorts of different spaces in order to be dressed to be out the door on time. So, yes, I need to get stuff done, be dressed, but how do I actually go about doing that? And so the number one thing that we really teach is how do we develop students' ability to actually engage this mental movie in their head and to use that as a basis and as a mental anchor for planning.
Oh, it's so much. And can you give us like an example of what that might look like at home or at school or both?
Sure. So I think this is one of those where, as parents all the time or as teachers, we have an expectation of what we want students to, quote, look like. So you can imagine that if my child is ready to walk out the door to baseball practice, that I have an image of what it is that they look like. I know what that means. The challenge often here is that the child's image may not match your image. So you may see the student as being, okay, they've got their baseball hat, they've got their practice t-shirt and shorts, they've got their socks, they have their sneakers, but they also have their cleats, they have their bag with their water bottle and their baseball bat and their glove and an extra snack, and then maybe even a change of clothes for afterwards. But the child, and you say, get ready for baseball, and they might just come downstairs and they've just got a short and t-shirt on. And, that image doesn't match what it is that you are picturing. Or when we think about chores, you might say, clean up the living room before you come upstairs to your teenager. Your image of clean living room may not exactly be the same as what the student's image of clean living room really is. And so we have to be able to get students to be able to have sort of that shared image of what done actually looks like, and then really be able to understand what are the actions that I need to take to be able to get that done and to match that and to do it within a reasonable time frame. Because I think students really can tend to overestimate and or underestimate how long a task can take. And not all students have the ability to truly internally see, sense, and feel the passage of time. And
Mm.
so um, and to be honest with you, Elizabeth, here's the thing too. I have so many teachers and parents who come to me and say, how can I teach my student this when I struggle with this myself? I mean, I have my own time management or I have my own organizational based challenges. And so really what our goal here is we don't want to teach these skills in isolation, you know, be dressed, manage your time, handle your schedule, do your homework, turn your homework in. We really want to be able to create this orchestration of how do you really see yourself moving through time and space to know what it is that you need to be able to do. And there are so many easy practical strategies that if you try, not only will it make those things easier at home for your student, but it might make it easier for you too.
I cannot wait. I wanted you to give us at least one tip before so they can go away with something to practice after this interview and wisdom that you're sharing. But also, what's coming to my mind is we hear traditional things, especially when you're talking about time management, about checklists and timers and planners and things like that as a traditional way. And what are some reasons why those don't stick?
Great question. So one of the things is that if we give a child a checklist, the reality is that a checklist comes from visualization. So for example, if you're making a grocery store list, you visualize, all right, I need apples, we're out of hamburger, I need hamburger. Oh, right, I used the last bit of baking powder, I need to put that on the list. And not only that, but when you visualize those items and then you put that on your list, you're likely even to organize that list in order of where you might purchase them in the grocery store. So you might put the apples and the other items that are in the produce section together. You might put the baking powder with maybe flour and other things that are the baked goods that you need. And that list of items, while it now might just look like apples, baking powder, toilet paper, it actually came from your simulating what you needed and walking through the grocery store.
Mhm.
So the challenge here is that we need students to be able to create their own simulation and then create the checklist so that if you're not just giving the child the checklist, it's your simulation, not the students. And that's often why they don't work. That's one reason, but there's two other reasons why checklists don't work, but we'll save that for the workshop. Um,
Oh, I love it.
yeah. And so here's just a easy trick. I think oftentimes we say to students, get ready for soccer practice, get ready for bed, take out your homework. When you get home tonight, hop in the shower before dinner, set the table. The challenge is every single time you say that, you're already visualizing what that expectation and outcome is. So just make sure that when you're coaching your student that you have a visual word. So you can say to that learner or that teen or that child, if you were standing at the door ready to go to baseball, what do you picture that you are wearing?
Mm.
When we get home tonight, what do you see yourself doing before you set the table? If the table was set for salad and chili tonight, what do you picture putting on the placemats? Just changing and getting that. What do you imagine? What do you picture? What do you envision? Before you come upstairs, if the basement is clean, what do you picture the table to look like? That just shifts the child's thinking.
I love that. I love you call it the future image, future sketch, building that mental whiteboard. Sarah has so many strategies and tools to share, and I am so grateful for your time today and also for you to be able to come and share more of your knowledge and expertise and practical research-based tips at our workshop. So we will share more with you. And until then, thank you so much, Sarah. I really appreciate your time.
Practical. We'll see you soon.
Okay, take care.